Welcome. Thank you all for coming. Today's webinar is Planning for a Mindful Practice Area Transition. There are a lot of attorneys out there who are struggling with how to run their practice in a way that is both personally satisfying and financially productive. Is it impossible for these two things to coexist in the same practice? To be in the practice of law is to be involved in conflict and to have no time available for the things you want to do and to feel drained and miserable at the end of the day? We don't think so. Jan Friedland of RJH Consulting has built her business with her partner Bob Henderson on exactly this, helping transition lawyers into a gratifying and mindful practice areas where you can truly get great joy and satisfaction from the impact you have on your clients' lives, and you're financially rewarded for it. Jan has over 30 years management experience. Bob has 38 years of trial experience and is a fellow of the American College of Trial Lawyers. They are also co-founders of the Elder Law College. Jan is with us here today. My name is Abby Trimble, and I work with the Elder Law College, and I'm going to be your host. Our mission is to mentor lawyers in the area of elder law and to give them literally everything they need to be successful. As we get into the meat of this and you come up with questions, here's how you can chat your questions to me. Move your mouse around and you'll see a menu bar and you'll see a More link. Under that link, if you click it, it's a chat option. When you click chat, you'll get a window. Select all panelists and then type your message in here. We will answer all your questions at the end. Jan, thank you so much for taking the time with us today.
Well, thank you, Abby, and hello. As we're getting our screen launched, let me share a brief story about what we mean by planning for a mindful transition. As law firm consultants, we were contacted by Sally, a bright, busy young attorney who said that she needed help because she was too successful. That's a very odd problem to be asked to solve. What we learned and did help her solve was transitioning from a lucrative but personally draining practice to one that is still personally fulfilling, but without what she characterized as increasingly bloody battles. Her desire was to make a mindful transition. We have co-opted the phrase mindful transition and have since helped others transition from one practice to elder law. The principles, I believe, apply to all practice area transitions. Here are the steps. Find a practice that suits you. How many of us graduated from law school knowing exactly how we would go about changing the world? And how many of us evolved in our aspirations? It is not quite as simple as deciding between transactional work or litigation, or defense versus plaintiff. If you're listening to this webinar, there may be some dissatisfaction in what you are doing now. Ask yourself, what aspects of your practice do you thoroughly enjoy? What is just a part of doing business that you're putting up with? And what do you absolutely hate doing? Those answers will shape your decision about a change. Here are some examples we have discovered. What was important to Sally was being able to find a practice where she still had a personal and positive impact, and one that was unique, but without the conflict, and also somewhat more transactional in nature. One of our elder law members, Jack, was a microbiologist prior to going to law school, and his practice was naturally and sophisticated patent work, but he very quickly became disillusioned. He is fortunate in having enough savings to sustain him for some time, while he looks for a practice area that will allow him to help individuals and not corporations. Those savings are not going to last forever, though. Heather, also a member of the college, is currently defending clients, too many of whom she sees in today's world as irresponsible brats who feel entitled to get out of DUIs or other alcohol and drug-related criminal charges. She is exceptionally busy, but the practice is not lucrative enough that she can stop taking clients just right away and focus on another practice. It is important to Heather to remain a relevant person in her rural college town, but she wants to again feel motivated to help her clients. The next step is to find ways to carve out some time in your day and use that time to take the first step to successfully look around for an area that suits you. This would have been a more difficult task until we entered the 21st century and the age of the internet. The ABA and state bar associations list sections, which is a good way to kind of get some ideas, but nothing beats talking with your happy colleagues. In a management conference I attended, Daniel Pink, author of the book A Whole New Mind, suggested that our group of managers go back to our organizations and ask our employees this question: what is the opposite of play? He went on to say that any employee who answered work should be fired. Well, that obviously is drastic, but his point struck home. To be healthy and productive, we should be passionate about what we do. Find the time to gain some necessary knowledge, and be sure to evaluate all the educational opportunities, keeping in mind that you will likely be able to satisfy CLE requirements while gaining substantive knowledge. We also strongly encourage finding a mentor and, at a minimum, an association or group that provides ongoing support. You will also need to carve out time to develop business. Business development, otherwise known as marketing, takes time, and we all know that time is a lawyer's product. This is essential, and it requires self-discipline. Not to diminish the importance of setting and keeping goals, but the key ingredient here is authenticity. We can give you an eloquent elevator speech, but if you don't believe in the value of what you're doing, then your message is worse than hollow. It is just pure bunk. You already know this, and my guess is you have either had success in your current practice area, or you may be struggling by not spending the time or using the right tools. Your tools. We again strongly recommend working with marketing professionals who can help you tell the story, but it has to be your story. While the time commitment does not have to be onerous, this cannot be a half-hearted effort. The return on investment is significant. So how can you possibly find this time? It is there, and here are some ideas. Look at your intake process. For the sole practitioner or small law office, the usual routine is that a secretary or receptionist makes the initial appointment for the lawyer, who then meets with the client to complete all the intake information. Even if the secretary or receptionist has instructed the client on the documents that will be needed at the initial meeting, it still takes time to record and organize that information at the first meeting. By providing the intake form itself to the client to complete and send to the office prior to the initial meeting, an attorney does not have to take time to record the information and can better focus on follow-up. There are at least 2 ways to use the time saved by tweaking the intake process. In Sally's case, because she wants to be more selective in accepting clients, she reviews the information completed by the client to determine if it is a matter she will accept herself, or she will refer it to another attorney, saving considerable time and her emotional investment in meeting with the client. The same may or may not be true for Heather, but with a large volume of cases, even the few minutes saved by not having to complete the form herself on every case will accumulate to give her more time to spend on transition. Best practices in recording and billing time are widely known, but are not so widely practiced. Unless you are the exception, my guess is that you can identify ways to save time in recording time worked. But I don't need to spend your time now discussing this. You are the best judge. I do have to share one kind of funny recent example, though. We worked with a client who was absolutely disciplined in keeping track of her time contemporaneously. However, she gives her handwritten notes to her secretary, who enters the time on the firm's standard form, which is proofread by the attorney before being submitted to the billing department. Does anybody see an opportunity for saving time here? If you participated in our previous seminar, you heard my partner Bob talk about the importance of getting bills out in a timely manner and offering incentives for prompt payment, both of which save time spent to follow up on collections. If at all possible, that follow-up should be delegated, not only as a time saver, but as a best practice. And here is my favorite, administrivia. Especially for the small law office or sole practitioner, saving time here is way easier said than done. During a transition, it is not financially feasible to hire even part-time help. But by carefully examining how you are spending your time, I am confident that you can find at least 30 minutes a day or 2.5 hours each week. There are volumes written about time management, but my go-to techniques are: never touch a piece of paper twice. Allocate blocks of time for specific tasks, like returning most of your phone calls between 4 and 5, and reserving the first 2 hours in the day for 2 hours a week for uninterrupted office time. Ask office staff, if you have staff, to triage the incoming mail and messages for you. First things first, some things maybe never. To take advantage of the intake process above, spend some of your saved time to establish a referral network. Hopefully, there is a hungry new attorney who will eagerly take smaller, time-consuming cases and share a portion of the fee with you. Next, take a good hard look at your cash flow.
Let's see. Okay, I found something on the web.
And calculate what really is your effective hourly rate. Sometimes this can be a startling figure and is representative of how efficiently your time is being spent. The formula is simple. Spending 10 hours in the office and billing 6 of those at $300 an hour equates to $180 an hour. That may be acceptable until you factor in income to expense profit ratio. If it is a 40% income to expense profit ratio, your hourly rate for time spent in the office is $72 an hour. Is that what it should be? Also determine what are your existing needs. When considering transitioning to a new practice, this is obviously an essential consideration. In the examples I will review at the end of this discussion, you will note that over a period of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, overhead will increase by at least a cost of living factor. What combination of revenue from your current practice and revenue from your new practice will be needed to meet both your personal and business expenses? Borrowing against a line of credit with a low interest rate in order to supplant income, maybe for a 2-year period, could actually pencil out in the third year without even a modest increase in revenue, with even a modest increase in revenue from a new practice. What do you hope to save for retirement? And when will that be? Don't forget to add into your pro forma what you have, or you should be, contributing to retirement accounts. On a side note, it's been kind of an interesting phenomena for us to see that retirement age is not age dependent. Some of our 30-year-old clients hope to retire in 15 years to do something entirely different. And some of our 65-year-old clients don't plan to retire for another 15 or more years. This is a given. Make a plan and execute the plan. It has to be more or less realistic. 1 year or 5 years or somewhere in between. And don't be afraid to dream big. We've worked with members and clients who want to immediately move into a new practice, and others like Sally who needed a 5-year plan. This might depend on how happy or unhappy you are now. It is important to establish this time frame, even if it changes as you are executing the plan. I often remind myself that nothing is really cast in concrete. Generally, it's cast just in Jell-O. Set some milestones that are not just monetary. It is about work-life balance, including your family, your mental and physical health goals. Sally was desperate to spend more time with her husband and 7-year-old daughter. So by the beginning of the third year of her plan, we had her reduce her hours in the office without reducing income or her effective hourly rate. If sitting is the new smoking, then a gym membership could be built into your net income goal. And committing to a 12-month gym membership may be just the motivator you need to execute your plan. Or you may want to nurture your hobby. Okay, money does matter. You do need to create a pro forma with financial objectives, and I'm going to give you some examples. These are based on 100% efficiency. Every hour spent in the office is billed. You're going to have to take an honest look at that when creating your own pro forma. Let's look at Heather's plan. Heather, again, is the attorney with a high volume of cases. She has 2 support staff, and her net income is actually relatively low with a low effective hourly rate. In 2017, we reduced her current practice by half, and that would result in taking a slight reduction as she's building up her other practice area. This could be offset by reducing her contribution to retirement, however. But take a look by 2019 that she's almost out of her current practice area, has developed her new practice area, and is realizing a really good increase on the net earned. Now let's take a look at Jack. Jack, remember, has some savings that he's going to be using, and he's doing okay for a little while living on those savings for the first year, but he's devoting an awful lot of time to building his new practice. And notice that it is rapidly increasing, doubling in 2 years. And in a 4-year period, he will have a very successful practice. Now let's look at Sally. Sally, as we said, has a very lucrative practice. She, though, wants to make a change. She's making a good income, has a good effective hourly rate, but by mindfully reducing her current practice and adding a new practice area, she will still realize an increase in her net profit. In 2018, we've reduced her hours from 1,600 to 1,500, and she's still increasing her net income, and take a look at 2019 when most of her practice is in the new area. It was our client Sally who served as a catalyst for our establishing a partnership with our former client Scott Solkoff to form the Elder Law College. While Scott masterfully teaches the substance of the law, we work with our members in transition planning, pricing, and marketing. Thank you so much for participating. I will pass the presentation back to Abby, who will talk more about the Elder Law College as one idea for a positive area to which to transition your practice. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Dan. I really appreciate that. It's the content was fantastic. Before we go to questions, I'm going to talk for a minute about the Elder Law College, what we do, and how we help students become more profitable by adding a new area of law to their practice. Demand for elder law is huge, and it's growing, and it's a growing need at an astronomical rate. It is projected that by 2036, the population of seniors will increase to 100 million. That's an increase of, that's a double. It's no other age demographic is growing any faster. Where's the wealth in America? Who is holding it? People over 55. Here's a little chart. Also, right now, 7 in 10 Americans are in need of long-term care. These are the people that need help from an elder law attorney. Bottom line, there's a huge need for lawyers who specialize in this area of law. And that presents lawyers who are open to the idea of transitioning to elder law or just adding elder law to their existing practice with quite an opportunity. Elder Law College streamlines the transition process for its students and ultimately makes them more effective and more profitable more quickly. Our flagship program, the 360-degree Elder Law Practice Builder, is an all-inclusive program designed to get you successfully launched in elder law with all the support you need all along the way. Scott Solkoff, our lead faculty, who you will be working directly with, is a nationally recognized expert in the field of elder law, a board-certified elder law attorney, and he co-authored one of the leading textbooks on elder law, which is now in its 14th edition, and has helped define modern elder law practices and establish Solkoff Legal. Last month, Scott was the recipient of the prestigious National Academy of Elder Law Attorneys Award, the John J. Reagan Writing Award, for his article on the Affordable Care Act and its impact on the special needs in elder law practice. During the 3-day seminar, Scott will download his entire career of knowledge and insight into your lap. It's a huge volume of information, so we have built an entire toolkit to help you get up and running and profitable as quickly as possible. In addition to attendance to the 3-day 360-degree Elder Law Practice Builder, students get unlimited access to the document library. This is a living and breathing asset, updated constantly, that includes 800 plus pages of the most important documents an elder law attorney uses. At the end of the Practice Builder course, you will receive a thumb drive with these documents as well as access to the library online. You will also get access to our online training courses and instructional videos. We understand the gigantic volume of information that Scott will give you in the short 3 days. If you forget anything, or if you forget everything, you can get online and watch the course again. Adding a practice area can take some tactical finesse. So to help you with the transition, we've added a tailored consultation with Bob and Jan, RJH Consulting, where they will help you with your specific needs and your goals. Now, it's not just about having the information and the plan. You have to have the clients coming in the door. So to help with this, every student will get a tailored marketing audit and consultation with my company, Harper Beck Marketing. We specialize in legal marketing, and we will take a detailed look at your overall goals from a marketing perspective and create a plan to help you reach those goals. Once you're on your way, you will need support from colleagues and your mentor. So you will have access to the student directory, the student listserv, and a monthly phone call with Scott Solkoff, Bob, and Jan. These have become the most valuable assets to our student body. You're able to ask anything and get help right there. The great thing is that everyone learns from the questions and you're able to steepen your learning curve. Our goal is to have our students graduate from the Elder Law College with everything they need to start and run a successful elder law practice. The next seminar is May 12th to the 15th in Dallas, Texas. If you sign up now for a no obligation consultation with Bob and Jan about transitioning into elder law, and if you ultimately decide that this is a good fit for your practice, we will extend to you a $200 discount. I'm going to send you all a link right here. To schedule a 15-minute consultation with Bob and Jan. We can now open up the floor to questions. I have a couple of questions that have come in already.
I can answer those, Abby.
Oh, great. Thanks, Jan.
You're welcome. One question is, how saturated is the market in South Florida for elder law? And how can we find out? We can actually help you with that and would love to speak with you offline. I don't know if that applies to everybody on the call, so feel free, no obligation. Bob and I are happy to speak with you about that. And the same holds true. Yeah, just Abby is sending you that link and then we'll schedule a time. There's another question about not being interested in Medi-Cal planning or any tax planning or probate. And so is it realistic to have a estate planning practice component in the transaction practice limited to estate plans for folks not concerned with Medi-Cal or tax planning? We're not really talking about tax planning, but again, this may be something that is just relative or relevant to you, and we're happy to talk with you offline about that. Are there other questions? Can I explain? Oh, the next seminar, which is similar to the one in May, we know we have one in New York in September, but we are working on having one in the summer. And if you let us know that, we'll keep you informed. The cost for the seminar is, the cost for the first year of membership in the college includes the seminar, which is $2,100. Abby just mentioned that there will be $200 off if you sign up from this webinar, and it's $150 a month ongoing membership. So the total cost is $3,700 for a year. I will say that a student from our class in November went back to his office and got a client that was a $6,000 fee. So it is possible to make that up easily with your first client. And what do you learn? The substantive and procedure. How do you learn? It is really a boot camp kind of environment. The 3-day training is a very intense training, which is why we have ongoing membership and support to help you get the mentor, not only training, but you need a mentor in the field also. And we'll keep everybody informed about this future seminar coming up. And I answered the cost about the 3-day training. Again, the total cost with the discount is $3,700, $19 for the training itself, and $150 a month for membership. The dates of the New York seminar will be September 23rd through the 25th. And I think it will be right in New York City. We haven't found the exact venue for that, but 22nd, 23rd, 24th, and 25th. We begin with a dinner, a get acquainted dinner and some marketing information dinner, and then 3 days of substantive law. Any other questions? You don't want to ask about the pro forma?
It was a lovely pro forma.
It's something that I do.
I really like to see how what a difference it can make over course of the three years. I think it's really amazing how, like, at first it looks like things are slowing down, but by the third year, it's made a huge difference to transition into that new area of law.
And happily practicing.
Right, and that's something that's really hard to put a data point on. It's like your happiness level, but it is so important. And being able to be happy and in your practice and what you do for so many hours every day makes a huge difference in your health and your quality of life overall. And you're better at your job too.
Yes. And to answer Jack, not the same Jack to whom I referred in the pro forma, but yes, Jack, we'll give you the slides and I'll get you the spreadsheets as well.
All right. That looks like all the questions. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending and participating. And we will be sending out the slides to everyone as well as a recording of this webinar. All right. Thanks a lot, Jan.
Thank you.